What is good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for coming back here. Please drop a like, comment, and subscribe if you would like to see more. Hashtag Willow Mercedes main event is trending on X right now. So let's talk about it.
Cue the standing ovation!
What an amazing moment. We are blessed.
The people are calling for Willow and Mercedes to main event Double or Nothing. Now, the question of the day that I have for you is, how would you book Mercedes Mone heading into this match? Would you have had her appear in as many shows as she did? Or would you have written her off like I was thinking of doing in my KFAB booking here? I do think that she may have been a bit overexposed to AEW recently.
Wow.
And keep in mind, she is my #1 favorite women's wrestler. But even I have to accept the fact that it is very hard to book someone for almost, is it 2 months or over 2 months? Because she debuted at Big Business, which was in March. Let's say over 2 months, right? Because it's March into April into May at the end of May, right? So how do you keep her interesting to the fans where she won't lose her momentum? It's a very simple thing. You write her off TV. And the way that I would have done it was I would have done it night 1. So if you guys remember, she was attacked in the darkness.
Mercedes Mone left laying.
And this wasn't the first night, I believe. I think it was a number of weeks later. But I would have done that the first night. Because what this does is it sets up potential rivalries across the board for her, right? Because I would have done it after she had all her little meet and greets with all the girls in the locker room. When she went up to meet Riho. When she went up to meet WIllow Nightingale and Chris, right? Even then and there, you could hint at the fact that it could potentially maybe be Willow or Chris that attacked her later on in the night. Because Mercedes and Willow will talk briefly about what happened at Resurgence. Mercedes will say, "I'll see you soon," something along those lines, right? You and I, you and I have unfinished business, right? And it's ironic that she'll say that because it's at Big Business, or not really ironic, apropos, right? Boom, we come back from commercial break right before the main event of the show. Lights are blacked out. Mercedes is on the ground, laid out. They should have used a bit of blood in this scenario, and the reason why I say this is because it has to look believable that she's going to be written off until maybe a week or two before Double or Nothing. And that is how I would have done it. The reason why I would have done it that way is because I feel like that makes a lot more sense, where you can keep her interesting as a babyface. You know that she's going to come back and get her lick back. You don't know when she's going to come back, right? I would have also waited until she physically returns to announce that she's going to be having her first match in AEW. I wouldn't have done it so early, because then now it becomes pretty obvious that Willow was going to beat Julia. It becomes pretty obvious that Mercedes is going to fight Willow for the TBS Championship. It just essentially ruins the Willow and Julia Hart match that happened at Dynasty. Now you have a video package that you can show to the audience to catch them up in case they don't know why Mercedes is coming back after Willow. Now, Willow could hint at the fact that she had nothing to do with the attack. Stokely could start whispering in Chris's ear about something that is occurring in the ring, even though they probably have nothing to do with the attack either, right? But it could lead to a Chris Statlander heel turn, as over the number of weeks while Mercedes has been gone, and even before Mercedes even got to AEW, Stokely has been trying to pull Chris Statlander away from Willow Nightingale. So it would make a lot of sense to plant the seeds for Chris and Willow post Double or Nothing. You know what I mean? So now there's another story that you can fall back on. And then you can reveal that the person who attacked Mercedes Mone could either be like a returning Julia Hart or Dr. Britt Baker, who's returning. Because it seems like Serena Deeb is going into the babyface role, so it's not going to be her. I feel like Dr. Britt Baker would be a perfect example of that. Maybe her and Jamie Hayter. Or if they, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I don't really want to see the match, but there were all these rumors of potentially Saraya and Mercedes running it back, which from a storyline standpoint makes a lot of sense, seeing as how technically Mercedes ended Saraya's in-ring career the first time in WWE. I don't know how they're going to show, they wouldn't show footage of that, obviously, they would just verbalize it. But that would be, another solid feud post Double or Nothing that would make sense for Mercedes, right? Mercedes finishes her business with Willow, getting her lick back because Willow in story injured her, right? But now Soraya's coming after Mercedes for the same thing. Like it's It's like poetry in motion, bro. It just makes so much sense, right? They could do that. Now, obviously, I know I'm yapping here a lot, but the storyline that I'm making up here is coherent for the most part. So now you have Willow and Chris on one side handling their business post Double or Nothing. Chris decides to attack Willow now that she's weak, that she's vulnerable, that she's lost the championship. Soraya comes after Mercedes Monet. Soraya's champion, or sorry, Soraya is a former AEW Women's World Champion. She wants to win the TBS title now. Mercedes has it. It lines up perfectly, right? Now you have that happening over there. You could even bring back Jamie Hayter, have her go after Toni Storm, reclaim her title. Then you have that story for Britt Baker and Tony and Jamie Hayter on that side. Now you got three big women's stories running at the same freaking time. It's just there's a lot of different things that they can do. You know what I mean? And it's all dependent on how they do it. Personally, I stand by what I said. I don't think that they should have had Mercedes on so many shows. I do think that the way that they do it, as far as waiting, like I said, would have given a way bigger big fight feel to the story, because now, Mercedes thinks it's Willow. They find out maybe after the match that it wasn't Willow or something like that, right? Maybe Mercedes gets approached during the pay-per-view as champion. Someone else can come out and, maybe try to challenge her for the title since she's going to close out the show. I don't know, however you want to do it. But, or you could just literally have her just close out the show holding up the championship and that's done, right? And then, in the press conference or whatever it is, she could say, okay, well, judging by how we fought, I don't think it was Willow. If it was, she would have jumped me after the ring, after the match, blah, 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 something like that, right? Like, she's a CEO, she's smart, she knows what she's talking about. All right, boom. Now, the next following Dynamite, again, Soraya comes out. Soraya's with Mercedes, blah, blah, blah. But I would have gone that route with everything instead of overexposing her over and over and over without any real physical altercation. Like, she did have a few hits here and there with Julia. But I do think that Mercedes getting involved in that storyline basically gave cuts to Julia. Like, everybody, like, off the rip, I can't say everybody because not everybody, like, thinks the way that I do, and I'm aware of that. But for the most part, I feel like most people knew, all right, it's curtains for Julia Hart's reign, right? Like, there was also even a rumor that she was injured. So now everybody's like, okay, Julia's gonna lose the title because Willow's gonna run it back with Mercedes. You know what I mean? Like, something like it was just way too obvious from a viewer standpoint. Let me know what you guys think about all that. Feel free to comment it down below. Peace.